right, welcome everyone. Happy Thursday. Dr. Staci Holweger here. I am in Sarasota, Florida, Senior Presidential Director, joined by my beautiful co-host, Miss Marci Preble, Senior Presidential Director on the West Coast, out in Orange County, California. And we have two amazing ladies that are going to be sharing their testimonials with you tonight. Marci will be interviewing them. I will then come back on and share the science and tech of how this technology is working. So before we get started, I want to make sure that I share with you that Lifewave, the information that we're sharing tonight, is for informational purposes only. I'm not your doctor, and neither is Marci, of course. And so if you have questions in regards to your health, your situation, medications, things like that, please check with your healthcare practitioner, your doctor, to see what is best for you. Lifewave's information that we're sharing tonight is not intended to prevent, treat, or cure, or diagnose any disease at all. So, and of course, if you're pregnant or nursing, please check with your practitioner or your doctor. I'm going to turn it over to you, Marci, so you can get started interviewing these two beautiful ladies we have this evening.
Absolutely. And thank you, Dr. Staci. And we're going to start with Laurie. And Laurie, I just would love to know, hello. I'd love to know how you heard about Lifewave X39 and what was going on in your life before and what's happened now.
Okay, so June the 10th of last year, I fell. I took a really bad fall on a wet spot at a job, and I didn't know it, but I found out I fractured my back, and just recently, within the last month, I found out I still have 2 tears from that hip, on that hip, and I am looking at a back fusion. But what led me to the patches, and with that being said, is that I have these injuries and I have had 0 in a year, 0 treatment. And I was on a level 13 pain for about 4 months, could hardly walk. Like getting up even out of a chair was pretty crucial. Sitting down was horrible. Laying down was horrible. Turning over was horrible. Standing, anything, coughing, just anything. I was at my wit's end, and I just like, Lord, you just got to send me something, because I had medication. I wasn't taking pain pills, but I'd already been on Gabapentin for years, and I've been on blood pressure medicine, and I had medicine because of the pain, the anxiety of the pain. It was just too many medications. Been on blood pressure medicine since I was 28 years old. And I was scrolling through Facebook one evening, and Heather Fisher, she's a friend of, she went to school, I guess, with Staci. She's from Indiana. She had broken her foot last year and posted about, she showed a picture of the patch on top of her foot, and the post said pain-free. And at that moment in my life, I was just like, pain-free, 2 little patches on the foot. Okay. And I contacted Heather immediately. And I was like, I got to know what's going on. What happened with you, and tell me about this. I signed up immediately under Silver. I was already talking about the patches before I even got my patches, because I'd already started doing research and everything. And so I get the patches in, and it was a Wednesday. It was the 1st of October, the first week of October. I want to think around October the 6th. I got the patches in, and within minutes, probably, I want to say 30. I'll go overboard. I'll go stretch it out to 30 minutes. My pain after 4 months literally went from that 13 down to probably about a 3 or 2 or 3.
Oh my gosh. A
13, yes,
a 2 or 3?
Yes, because I got the X39, because Heather got me all, she said, this is what you need, girl. She got me the X39. I got the Aeon and Ice wave. That's what I started with.
Oh, that's a good combination, Laurie.
Yeah, it was a great combination. So y'all, I started patching, And I even had another MRI done not long, I want to think, it wasn't too long after that. Back probably November, yeah, I can't remember. I've had so many. And my MRI is this long.
Oh my gosh.
Marci. Yeah, like I can't even, it's that long that all the different things wrong with my lower back and my hip and everything. And then I just had the other MRI done and I have 2 tears. But what bothered my doctor, the orthopedic from the get-go, was by the time I got to her, my hip was so weak. When I say, Marci, that I should literally, with what's going on, was wrong with me and what's showing up on tests, I should be in the bed. I should be, when I do walk, I should need crutches or a walker or something assisting me because of the injury. It was a traumatic fall. I flew up in the air. I bashed my knee in, and then I landed on my, like, just completely, and then landed on my right hip and right buttocks area. But going back, I started the patching October. I was sharing it with everybody. I just see subtle changes. Well, the pain was the huge thing. Getting the inflammation out, and I was just like, man, this is really unbelievable. This is just not right. So I'm like, okay, stop taking some medications. You don't need the anxiety medicine no more, because I didn't have the pain, and so I didn't need that anymore. So and then I needed to get off my blood pressure medicine by December or 1st of January, because it was balanced out, and it was dropping too low on the blood pressure medicine. I got off the Gabapentin, and to date, it's been over a year since the accident. To date, I've had zero I've only had testing done. I've had zero treatment. I've had no treatment. I'm about to start physical therapy, but as far as any kind of anything, shots or anything, even the doctor didn't give me medication.
Okay,
And
wait,
so
I just have to hear this for a minute. So a year ago, you were at, I think you said, a level 13.
Yes.
You came down to a level, I just have to absorb this. Did you say 4?
No, it was about 2 or 3.
2 or 3.
Yeah.
And then you tell me that, I mean, I wrote this all down from the beginning. Your blood pressure, your gabapentin, your anxiety medicine, because the anxiety of the pain. And you just told me now, a year later, okay, just off anxiety, off blood pressure. I think I heard that your blood pressure was too low on blood pressure medicine.
Yes.
So, hey, maybe off that.
Yeah.
And off your gabapentin. I mean,
yeah.
You're kind of like a miracle, Laurie.
It's because according to according to science and what a doctor would say, and how I should not be walking, much less I pick up my grandkids. People have zero clue I have an injury. I should have a limp. My hip is very weak, but it's the patches have built up the strength around that. And my orthopedic's like, and you still don't take any medicine for pain, and but you're getting stronger. And I haven't done physical therapy yet. I'm about to start Monday. You haven't done nothing like that, but you're stronger than you were the last time I saw you. But it's still that she's concerned about the hip weakness. But because of that hip weakness and zero medicines now, because of that, I should be not walking, much less at a fast pace, much less sitting down, standing up. I'll walk down 4 flights of stairs like nothing.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes.
And you're wearing today, your favorite are still X39 Aeon and Ice Wave. Did you add X49 for that?
I've done X49. I've done I love me some Carnosine, the SP. I do them all. I'm a patch junkie. I am.
Oh my goodness.
I need a patch to get off my patches.
Well, we love you, Laurie, and your story gives so many people hope. So thank you so much.
There's just a tad bit, let me see more. By February, my eyesight, I didn't need my glasses anymore.
Wow.
I had bifocals on the bottom. Like I had reading glasses, I had astigmatism there. I couldn't see across like a room, a clear face. My son played basketball and I had to wear glasses and I couldn't see across the court. I couldn't make out that. And then 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago, I got this breast infection through sweat glands, through your sweat glands.
Yeah.
And I was at the cancer doctor and everything, mammograms. I ended up having surgery. I was on antibiotics for months before leading up to surgery. It was horrible. It came back this summer because I wore a sports bra and everything, but it came back this summer and it got pretty intense. And I said, you know what, Lord, I'm just going to patch. I'm just going to patch. It's gone.
Wow.
Completely gone. And the stage it got, it had to flare up and do its thing because it had to detox out and all that kind of stuff. It had to flare up and do its thing, but without having to go to the doctor. I waited it out. It is completely gone.
That is a miracle. And I bet that's a little glutathione. That's what I think.
And that was, 2 years ago, I was under a knife for the same thing.
Wow. Well, Laurie, thank you for sharing. You're such a blessing, and your story is going to help so many. So we thank you for coming on and giving us your story, your update. It just keeps getting better. So,
yeah, it does. And all I do is talk about patches.
Awesome. So with that, we're going to move over to Penny now. Thank you, Laurie.
You're welcome.
Penny, I'd love to hear from you next. And my question to you, Penny, is who did you hear about the patches from? And what was your life like before, and what's been happening with you now?
Okay, my friend Paige Hunter introduced me to the patches back in December. So I've only been using the patches now for about 7 months. When I first started, about 3 years ago, I had a car accident, and I was diagnosed with a herniated disc. And everything went fine up until about a year ago, I guess, or maybe a little bit longer. And I started hurting. My legs felt like that they were rubber bands that had been stretched as far as you could stretch them. I couldn't walk to the mailbox without being in excruciating pain. And I am very active. When I before I turned 65, I actually did a 100K bike ride. So being active was my way of life. I just, I couldn't imagine just sitting and doing nothing, but I was in so much pain. That's all I wanted to do. And the orthopedic surgeon told me that it would happen. And he said, in 2 to 5 years, this pain will come back and you'll have to have the procedure done again. And I didn't want to do that, but was about to call to get that done because I was hurting so bad. I couldn't do my jobs. Just like I said, walking to the mailbox I would end up winded because I was in so much pain. It just took all the energy that I had. I even went to physical therapy for about 3 months, and it did absolutely nothing to help me at all. So my friend Paige introduced me to the patch. I hadn't looked at any videos. I didn't know anything about it, but I trusted Paige. So she just gave me 5 days worth of just the X39, and I didn't know any better, so I wore it going to bed. The next morning when I got up, my pain level was down by about 80%, and my mobility in my legs, which was huge, was up about 50% at that point. I remember thinking, you have got to be kidding me. This little bitty Band-Aid did not do that. And of course, I started watching all the videos and started learning everything I could about it. And I haven't stopped yet. Every chance I get, I'm learning something. But there was so many other things that started happening. I'm a diabetic and have been for years. My doctor and I have been working on my blood work for, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And we could not get my thyroid back into normal range. My cholesterol was out of whack. And my diabetes was up to, the AC1 was up to 10. At one point, it was actually 11. And no matter what I did, nothing seemed to help on it. So after being on these patches for 6 months, I wanted to go get my blood work done. When I went to get it read by the doctor, she walked in and she was absolutely blown away. She said she was so proud of the improvements that I had done. Everything was in the normal range except for my diabetes, but it had dropped by 2 points, which is huge. Because come to find out, I have a form of type 1 diabetes and not type 2. So it was huge that it had dropped down by 2 points. I've had so many things that just as I go along through month by month, things are changing. My hair started changing colors. I started getting darker. And I have arthritis in my hands, especially my thumbs. I no longer take the glucosamine for them, and I probably should take it, but I wanted to see what the patches would do for it without being on glucosamine. And now, 7 months later, I very seldom have any kind of problems with my thumbs at all. No pain. Once in a while, I'll get a twinge, but that's about it. Scars that were surgical scars from 55 years ago have flattened out. It's my skin is so soft. I have people tell me all the time how great my skin is. That didn't happen before the patches. I had sores on my arms periodically. And I never really thought much about it. I thought maybe it's old age. Your skin gets thin and you start bruising real easy. And I had a really bad one that was on my arm. And it started going away and disappearing in about 3 days. And that was unusual. It would normally take about 2 weeks for them to go away. And I never really attributed that to the diabetes, but I think it is. I think it's a diabetes. And now I can carry grocery bags and very seldom do I get a bruise on my arm from it. So I'm like the lady before, I can't stop talking about it. I feel like that God has given me such a huge blessing and a gift. He gave me my life back. And I would not be much of a Christian if I didn't share this with everybody that I know. So that's what I tried to do.
Wow, Penny, what a story. From, I mean, not being able to walk to the mailbox. Like, I did you hear that? Like, her legs felt like rubber bands. Like, that must have been so hard. And I just want to know, you put that X39 on and you wore it to bed, and like the next day you woke up with less pain and mobility. I think she was one of the one patch wonders, Staci. Now, not everyone feels something right away, because a lot of times the stem cells are going to go and fix what you need to live first. But for Penny, it did. So that's pretty exciting. And I love the sugar down 2 points. And that makes sense that the symptoms of the sugar would cause wound issues like the sores. So that totally makes sense that you're getting your sugar in control and the bruising and the sores start to calm down. Like, it just is all so good, Penny.
Oh, yes, I am so very grateful. You just don't know. So I like to tell my sister's story if we got a minute.
We do.
Okay. She was diagnosed in December with stage 4 colon cancer. Her oncologist told her that there was no cure, that all they could do is keep her comfortable. She did a lot of things. She cut out the sugar, she increased her supplements, but she did the patching between her chemo treatments. She would be on chemo treatment 6 days out of the month. And the days she wasn't doing chemo, she would do the patching. Her attitude was fantastic. She never believed what the doctor told her. She never accepted that. And that is so crucial for people that have cancer. But 4 months in April. So I guess it was probably about 5 months that she'd been using the patches. One of the things that she will tell people, you can't say that the patches did anything to do this to the tumor, but she can say that it helped her tolerate the chemo treatments without the side effects. Now, the very little nausea, no tiredness. By the time she finished her chemo treatments, Saturday morning couldn't come around fast enough for her. So in April, she had another PET scan and another CAT scan. The CAT scan showed that there was no discernible sign of the tumor at all. It was gone. And the PET scan showed a little bit of residue in the bottom where the tumor had been. So the doctor wants to do surgery, which I wish he wouldn't, but that's what he wants to do. And I feel like that the patches is a tool that God gave to save my sister's life. I wasn't ready to lose her. Yeah. There's very few of us left in the family, so I wasn't ready to lose her.
And many people are asking, what patches have you been wearing, and what patches are your sister wearing?
My sister wore the X39, the Aeon, the Carnosine, and the Glutathione. She never did use the X49. Then I have used several, and I started out with the X39 and the Aeon, which is what I advise people to start with. But I also use the Glutathione and the Carnosine, and my friend Brian Penrod insisted that I start using the X49. Why, I'm not sure, but so I used it because I listened, so I use basically I use all of them. I'm doing the protocol for the tummy protocol that Dr. Staci recommended. And my friend and I took the challenge, and we started that on Saturday. So I took pictures, and when it's over, I'll let you know what it does, because that's my biggest problem is my belly.
I hope, Penny, we get before and afters on those.
I don't know if I have enough courage to show my belly, but if it'll help somebody, I probably will.
Oh, you're so sweet. Well, Penny, thank you so much for sharing your story and your sister's story. Once again, you've just helped a lot of people. Dr. Staci, why don't you tell us what is going on with this technology?
Absolutely. Wow. It's amazing when you listen to these testimonials. They're always so different, and yet they're using the exact same thing. And so that's what I want to share with you in the next few minutes. What have these ladies been using? So thank you, ladies, for coming on here. I do want to say this. Sometimes it's a little daunting to be on, even on computer screen over, 250 people on here watching live. So thank you for taking the time and having the courage to get on here and to share your personal testimonials, and your sisters as well too, Penny, because that really does make a difference in other people's lives when we get to share these testimonials. So what we're talking about tonight is this non-transdermal patch. Now, you did hear the ladies talk about lots of different patches, so I'm going to talk about X39. X39 is our star product. This is a non-transdermal patch. This is the main patch that we always start with. And this patch activates your body's own stem cell production. So how does that happen? Well, you see the sticky part back here, right? That means it's going to stick on my skin like a little round Band-Aid. But what I want to talk to you about is what is inside of it, the white part. That is what our inventor, David Schmidt, has created. He is the owner of Lifewave and the CEO. He's a scientist and a researcher, and he has spent his entire life inventing things to help people improve their quality of life. Even going back to brain cancer. He invented something years ago to help with brain tumors, a specific type. So he's always had just a quest and a drive to help people improve their quality of life. So this patch took him 10 years in the lab to figure out how to do what it does. And so it is designed as a non-transdermal patch, like I mentioned, which means nothing is entering the body. So how is it working then? Well, embedded in that white part that David invented is a crystal lattice structure. And I don't mean crystal like amethyst or clear quartz crystals, right? Not those type of crystals. What David invented is a proprietary blend of organic amino acids, sugars, oxygen that are in a water solution base. So that forms a lattice structure in that little white disc part. It's sealed in between two polymer pieces, so nothing is entering the body. This is a wearable light technology. And what that means, I mentioned earlier, I'm over here in Sarasota on the East Coast. It's dark outside right now. And so we emit light, and I can see that by going outside and looking through night vision goggles. I can see people or I can see animals in the woods because of the heat or light that they're emitting. And that is what this patch is working with. So when I apply this patch, I'm actually going to put it on in the morning. That's the way it's designed to be worn. You can do the back of your neck, you can do below your belly button, or honestly, any spot works. It does not matter. Your entire body is emitting light or heat, and this works systemically throughout your entire body. So I put the patch on in the morning, I leave it on 12 hours. During that time, what's happening is my body's light is reflecting back a very specific wavelength of light from this patch. Remember that crystal lattice structure? That is embedded in here, and it reflects back a wavelength of light into my body. That wavelength is elevating a peptide. It's GHK-Cu copper peptide. And that is where David spent 10 years in the lab trying to figure out how to elevate that peptide. If you go to startx39now.com, you can see our double-blind placebo studies on X39 and how it shows that this patch actually does elevate GHK-Cu copper peptide. Well, with GHK, one of the benefits, of course, is that it resets a third of our genes back to their young, youthful, healthy state. And of course, genes express to other genes. So there is a compound effect from using this patch day after day, week after week, month after month, or even longer, as you've heard from these ladies tonight. And so when you wear the patch, elevating your own stem cells is what this patch does. GHK-Cu copper peptide, one of those genes is responsible for mobilizing your stem cell production. And as you heard Marci mention, your stem cells know where to go in the body. They know what to do first in whatever order. Penny got some pain reduction. She was in our One Patch Wonder Club, but that doesn't happen for everybody. It's honestly not very common that it does. We see that most people take about 3 to 6 weeks before they start to feel something. And that's when they kind of see some pain reduction or better quality of sleep, or maybe faster wound healing like you heard with Laurie, or maybe they have more mental energy, clarity, concentration, focus. But then we know the longer you use the patches, the more benefits you will gain. And people always want to know, like, how long do I have to patch? I always say stop patching when you want to start aging again. We know the longer you use this, the more repair and regeneration that's happening in your body. You heard Penny talk about her organs, right? Her pancreas is functioning better because of the time that she's been using the patches. So the longer you use the patch, the more you can cross off your grocery list of things that you want to eliminate so that you have a better quality of life. And so what we want you to do tonight is get back with a person that invited you. They can help you get set up with the X39 stem cell activation patch, or of course they can help you get set up with any of the other patches that we have as well too. We do love to, like Penny said, partner our X39 with Aeon. Aeon reduces inflammation in the body. We know inflammation is the root cause of disease in the physical body. And of course, inflammation causes pain, tightness, stiffness in the body, right? We don't feel as great. And so when you reduce that inflammation while you're elevating your own stem cells, you see a more rapid, dramatic repair and regeneration process. So get back with that person. They can help you get set up. We are going to end our call this evening. So I do want to make sure that if you were a guest tonight, we're glad you joined us. We hope that you gained value from tonight. We do have another Zoom that does start here in about 30 seconds. So I'm going to end this Zoom now, and I'll share with you the information on that next one. Thank you again, Laurie and Penny and Marci, for joining us tonight.